Thank you for staying tuned. If you just tuned in, you are still watching Politics Uncensored, and we are here to discuss the local government autonomy and the constitutional review bid. Of course, we still have Dr. Ambrose here and Olajide, who just joined us. Olajide, welcome. Can Olajide hear me? Okay, I think this is quite a number of network issues. If do we have Dr. Ambrose here? Okay, so I'm going to read a story from Fashola on his perspective about the creation of, extra state. And I think that this conversation is quite a tough one because for people who have felt marginalized over the years, our guest said that everything is political. All the creation of states have been political from the beginning. And he walked us through how long that has been. And it's quite a story if we really look at it, and how certain groups of people have, claimed that they are more represented than the other, and certain groups have also been aggrieved of the representation of their states in Nigeria and their role in the National Assembly and other forms of government. And Fashola here is also saying that it's unrealistic to expect autonomy from local governments. He, a former Minister of Works and one-time Governor of Lagos State, as everyone will know him, Babatunde Raji Fashola, has opined that it is unrealistic to expect autonomy from local governments created by the Constitution, adding that they were never meant to be autonomous. And that's a very strong statement from the one-time governor, saying that states were never meant to be autonomous. But looking further into that story, he says for decades, debates have raged over the autonomy of local governments and whether there are constitutional provisions that grant such autonomy. So while speaking at a TV station, the former minister stated that he arrived at this conclusion after reading the Constitution. He says, as it stands today, it is unrealistic to expect autonomy from local governments created by this Constitution. And this is a conversation that we'll continue to have as, the topic continues to develop. But we have Dr. Ambrose here right now. But I would like to know, sir, from a political standpoint, what's truly at stake in granting the local government autonomy? Fashola said that local government was never meant to be autonomous. So I would like to know what your standpoint is as regards the conversation.
One of the problems we have is that this constitution that we are operating right now is actually patterned to resemble the command and control structure of the military, where the command, trickles down from the center, from the top, and is rigidly held. When you go to military or armed forces formations, that is what you see, both in the police, the military, and the rest. So the kind of borrowed that into democracy, because they were the ones that wrote the constitution that we are having today, which was written during the time of Abdul Salami Abubakar, who was in a hurry to hand over. And there was no proper consultation for the Nigerian people. Though the constitution says we, the people of Nigeria, I don't know how many Nigerians they consulted before writing that constitution. So we didn't have the referendums, we didn't have even the constitutional conferences we did. Most of the things were not, incorporated into the constitution. So the constitution we just said, okay, let us even manage what we have to kickstart the democracy. But unfortunately, we are just be doing piecemeal. Every president that have come since 1999 is afraid to actually rejig the constitution to give us another constitution that can, take it. You can see that even little things as defining the tenure of a governor was not even in the constitution.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, Supreme Court. Remember Peter Obi when he was governor in Anambra State? He was sworn in, and before he completed his 4 years, INEC had to conduct another election in Anambra State. And they said, no, my tenure has not. They said, no, your tenure ends with other governors. And then he had to go to the Supreme Court. It was the Supreme Court that now gave him the judgment that now said that, no, your tenure starts from the day you were sworn in. Such little things. Look at the one that happened in 2015 when President Audu Abubakar Kogi State won an election and then it was waiting for inauguration and then he died. Constitution had nothing to say about that. So you could see that those things that are need to be taken care of was not even taken care of by the Constitution. Then another aberration in the Constitution was that it listed the local government area, listed the states. I think the local government area should have been left as a local thing, as the name suggests. It is a local government, it is local. And that could have been left for the states to determine. Honestly, if you ask me, if a state wants to have 100 local governments, it's the state's business. So far, every state should have a unique, something, a peculiar arrangement that suits their purpose, because every state don't have the same problem. All the states don't have the same problem. All the states don't have the same challenges. All the states don't have the same resources of internally generated revenue. So allow the states to, like a Lagos state, for example, that has just 20 local governments with all its population. And then we have a Kano state that have 44 local governments. Now, Lagos went ahead to create 37 new local government development areas that was rejected by the government, the federal government, that even caused a lot of attrition between the President Olusegun Obasanjo and Governor Tinubu that time. And then we're not asking ourselves, why do we leave creation of local government to the state? It's the state that understands the problem of its local people. The man sitting in Abuja does not understand the problem of a local government in Bayelsa or in Kano or in Jigawa or in Enugu. He doesn't understand it. The same thing with state police. An IG sitting somewhere, appoints IG, appoints commissioner. These things will not work for a vast country like Nigeria. And that is where we have been having our problem. So I align with Fashola that we need to change this constitution. And for me, the direction we should go is that the federal government should hands off. Because why the federal government is involved, the local government, is that they're using local government to share revenue. They're using local government to determine a lot of things at the federal level. And this is very wrong. And that is why there was a clamor to have large local government, depending on the power of the people who were ruling that time, mostly military people, to just bunch local government areas. And you start wondering, is it the land or is it the people that constitute, Nigeria per capita income and the rest? It's not the land, it's the people. Therefore, we can jettison the system that suggests that all of us will collect something from the sovereign subnational, take it to Abuja, and everybody will come and share from it. No, share what you can produce. For example, if you say you're not taking alcohol in your state and it is banned, why should you take money from the people paying tax in alcohol from where it is consumed? So these are the hypocrisies, for example. You tap oil from the Niger Delta, and it's a federal government property. There's gold in Zamfara. It's not federal government property. So some of these things, we need to look deep into what it is now clear that solid mineral is not the national assets and should be treated the way oil in the Niger Delta is treated. So who owns the oil wells in the Niger Delta? Go and take a look. It's spread across all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, people from various states. But who owns the gold mines in the different parts of the north? Whether somebody from different places own it. So these are the imbalances in the constitution we are talking about. So my own is that instead of saying, oh, we have 774 local governments and divided, move federal government creation to this to the other concurrent list. In fact, just don't even do it in concurrent. Leave it for the state government. Don't let federal government not even legislate on that. Then state government can now sit down, and in many of the local states now they have what you call development council areas. Just because the local governments are not enough. If you go to the north, for example, a local government is so vast in its landmass that you need to travel some hours to cover one local government. So it doesn't serve the purpose. But if you leave it on the state government, for example, you can say, okay, we have a large population. This place is more for farming. Then you cannot, create those things to suit their purpose. But when the local government is being used to get national cake from the center, they will start distorting the reality. So that is the problem. Even trying to say fiscal autonomy for the local government, it won't work because it's not even working right now. Even after giving money, the state governors have a way of going around and get. So, what if you give this local government these resources to the state, and the states have the resources? Let the people of the state be the ones to tackle their own state governors and state institutions to create local government for them, and then they can have some ways of doing the political locally. Because when you say it is local government, it should really be local and not, legislated from Abuja.
I remember very well, Dr. Ambrose, that a lot of people clamoring for local government autonomy has come not just from the federal government, but from the idea that the state government has been the one suppressing development in the local government areas, and the money, because of the joint account that has been created for them, has strained them from doing what needs to be done. So the random local government chairman will say, oh, I really want to do this, but I couldn't get the fund from the state governor because for some reasons of the other, I wrote a letter, I wrote an application for the constituency, but didn't get it. So it's more like a fight between the state government and the local government at this point. And the people have likened the local government areas to, or local government council chairs to, puppets in that sense of the state chairman, and they're not actually elected people. But they are driving for development in this sense. Do you think that full autonomy will automatically translate to development at the grassroots, or is it simply, a power transfer, or maybe just aggrieved people who are more interested in gaining financial grounds than in, making sure that their constituency works in alignment with what the state government is doing?
Oh, well, for now, what we have is still not much has changed. The functionality of the local government is still dependent on the personality of the governor. If a governor is very democratic, if a governor is interested in grassroots development, the government, allows the local government area chairman to work. If a governor, on the other hand, is autocratic, if a governor, on the other hand, does not care about what is happening in the grassroots, then the local government chairman don't function well. So no matter what you do, there's that grip on the local government because of the way the Constitution places the local government. And that's why I say we should look at the whole Constitution to see where do we really place the local government, and see how either to strengthen it or to now put it in a way that it should be, practically at the state level, so that the states will know what to do with their various local government. And even now, some of the residual list functions of the state government, of the local government, for example, markets, burial ground, some of those little things that are there, the states are still controlling it. The local governments are not, they're collecting taxes, the market, billboards, shops, so there's still a clash. But when the state government is in charge of all those things, and then there are laws made by the local, by the state houses of assembly on creation of local government and how they should function, then the state will know that every money that comes there, they will use it to fund the local government. And then the development is now, we now really know that development is centered on who is the governor. And then the people can start asking questions. But this one, we are confusing everything, saying, oh, the money is coming from Abuja, is going to local government account. The local government chairman will say, oh, the state government is collecting money from us. All kinds of accusation accounts. And so it's giving the state government, the local government chairman, actually, excuses to work, not to work. If you go to many states, they will sit there and say, instead of talking about what they do, what they are doing in their locality, they were talking about what the governor does. Meanwhile, currently, a lot of the local government chairmen have a lot of funds with them because of the direct financial input they get directly from the federal government now. A lot of them have money with them, but most of them are not doing anything. So it's a confused and a complex scenario that we really need to look into the Constitution and see how we can mitigate the disaster and see how to move forward from it.
Thank you, sir. I think that your landing statement is what we should be looking at. One problem we've really faced in Nigeria is the act of accountability and transparency, more so implementation. I've told many people at times that we have enough policies in Nigeria to guide us to do quite a number of things. The issue is with implementation. The issue is always with reviewing what seemed not to work anymore. It's almost like there's a stronghold on what it is in the past. Well, we're going to go on a break, and then when we come back, I'll ask what roles you think that young people can play, especially in the system of local government autonomy and in the constitutional review bid. Please stay with us. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word.
Hey, Nepa.
Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back to the show. You are still watching Politics Uncensored, and of course we are discussing the local government autonomy and the constitutional review bill. Well, we have Dr. Ambrose here. Unfortunately, we have been having issues getting Olajide on the show, but Dr. Ambrose here has so diligently waited and answered all our questions. So I want to know, Dr. Ambrose, what role do you think that the youth should now play in this whole scenario? Sometimes it feels like we're talking over their heads. It doesn't align directly to what is really happening. I know that for so many things, youths have been called many things, from Buhari calling Nigerians lazy youth, so many other statements in that sense. But the youth will say that they have also been marginalized in that sense from political process and even in, their input in what happens in the government house. So what role do you think that they should play in all of this scenario? Are we calling Nigerians lazy youth?
I will say I pity the Nigerian youth. One, because at a point, I don't know if it has been restored now, but at a point in the school curriculum, in secondary schools and even in primary schools, history was removed as one of the subjects. So we have a generation of young people now who do not even understand their historical background, who do not know where they are coming from, who don't know what Nigeria used to be like, because they were not given access to history. And that's one of the greatest tragedy that the youths have now. They don't have a sense of history, and they don't have a sense of the developmental strategy and the trajectory that Nigeria has undergone. So, and you said that if you don't know your yesterday, we don't know how you want to face your future. So it's a dilemma. So most of the time when you tell the youth that, oh, there was, there was a time Nigeria used to have Nigeria Airways. We had our own shipping lines. And there were times we were producing our own steel. We had steel plants. We were producing cars, assembling cars here in Nigeria. We were producing batteries, tires, everything. And they start looking at you as if you are speaking Greek. Because they were not even aware of such history. They were not aware of the cocoa, of the palm oil, of the leather and the hides and skin, of the groundnut pyramid. They didn't know all those things because they were denied of those knowledge. And that is a big problem that we are going to be tackling from now on, because when you don't know something that exists, you don't go for it. So you don't even understand the dynamics of the political complexities we are having right now, because they were not able to, be carried along in the exploration of history. So that's a problem. Many of them don't even know what to do. So I think you asked me what they should do. One of the things they should do is that they should not allow the wickedness of our past leaders who stopped history in school to affect them. Perhaps it is time to now do what we call self-discovery. Let them start, looking at how this country came to be, how we, especially the First Republic, how we lived our lives from 1960 to 1960 when it was regional government, and how states were created. What were the reasons? They will now find out that the reasons are not even, what were the local government doing those days? How were the local government able to influence development? Then you can now start, why was even the reasons of the creating of the local government? Why is the creation of local government so lopsided? So that they can start understanding the dynamics. That is just for the sharing of money. That was why local governments were being created. And many people were given many local government, while some people were denied local government. Why do we have so much local governments in the north and have few in the south? So when you understand these dynamics, then you can now start putting up arguments for equity, for fairness, and for, in the context of the present reality, to know how to move forward with the constitutional review. But without that, there's little or nothing they could give. Where's the youth inclusiveness? There was a political party in this country that the youth leader, national youth leader, was 60 years old. If the national youth leader for a political party, national party is 60 years old, where are the youth? So the youth are more, they are more concerned about shenanigans. I mean, they are more concerned about movies, they are concerned about football, they are concerned. Yeah, it's good. This is time for you, but they should also look for time to be concerned about what is happening to them. Because most of them, they think it's not their problem. It's a problem of the parents, the problem of the elders. But it will virtually come to haunt them. Because at the end of the day, they're finished, there's no work, there are no things. Some of them just go through school, they're not employable. These universities don't have anything to teach anymore. Somebody studies computer science for 4 years in university, I have never seen a laptop, cannot even operate a common system, cannot even do a Word document. So these are the, contraptions of tragedy that we have in this country. So if we don't, when we're talking about global, look at our education standard. Many schools don't even have roofs and all those kind of things. Meanwhile, when you watch the social media, you see a lot of, videos where they show the Chinese youngsters, young people learning from the tender age, and then we show our own people what do we do. There's nothing we are doing. We see a lot of them doing prayer warriors in the church. We see a lot of them attending Quranic schools and all those kind of things. Meanwhile, when you go to Saudi Arabia, for example, the Quranic schools have been integrated with global standards. When you go to Europe, you see the missionary schools have been also being concocted with STEM and science and all those things. Why can't we bring all those things down here? We don't. We only pick the only aspect that we want, how to hoodwink the people. So we are in for a very serious trouble. And until we are able to get the political will to address some of these things, the youth will keep on, just, groping in this maze of confusion.
So, Dr. Ambrose, I think that what you have summarized is, first, while we must have been taken away from what history says, it's very important that we cite that problem and now start to address it by self-discovering what it is and what history says, so that we can, start to map out what our future is. And maybe I would say that you have also said that the youth should now start getting more involved in what happens in the Constitution and what happens in our local governments, because just like you mentioned, the parents that you are so dear faulting right now, we would soon become parents at some point, and our kids might now grow up to now start faulting us at a lot of things. I saw in a review, in a constitutional review, where they were insisting that agriculture should be enforced in all schools so that people can be aware of what agriculture means and how they can be involved in the agricultural process or the agricultural vision that Nigeria has. So I clamored for the fact that history and government should become something that should be compulsory for everyone, to whether you choose to go to science class, commercial class, whatever class from the secondary level that you want to go to, must involve what Nigeria has been and what's the projection for Nigeria, so people can start to tap into what they want to do or how they want to be involved in that process. And beyond just political process, there's the economic advantage of being historically informed about your country. And just like you have, let me say, taught us this morning, you have walked us through what has happened from 1966 up to this point, which a lot of people do not know. So I'm also clamoring alongside you that youths, while I've asked you what you should do, I'm also agreeing that youths, including myself, because I'm also a youth, youth should be very much involved in what happens in the political space. The local government elections in Lagos showed a very obvious flaw, that Lagos State, the local governments are not very well, addressed in that sense, where people just feel that the local government system should not be something that concerns them. But when it comes to the presidential election or the House of Representative election, there's agitation, there's clamoring, and there's all of that, forgetting that things should start from the grassroots. I also said that maybe there should be a review of the Constitution stating that the local government should no longer be called the third tier of government, but called the first tier of government. So maybe some responsibility can start to move towards that side. And I'm very thankful that you decided to join this conversation. But wrapping it up, I would like you to give your closing statement at this point. What do you think we should do moving from now, especially when we see that 2027 is just around the corner? Do you think that local government autonomy should be a priority issue, or we should just find a way to make Nigeria work other than going, round and round in circles?
Well, if you have a faulty car, the first thing you do with the faulty car is not to park it and look and buy a new car, especially when you don't have money for a new car. So what do? You start getting to the mechanic. You start, fiddling with one or two things, replacing spare parts and the rest. That is exactly what we are doing with our constitution. We are just replacing the spare parts the parts that have gone bad, and bringing spare, to see how we can make it work manageably for now. We need a brand new constitution. This constitution is greatly flawed. That is taken. But the greatest complexity of it all is that the constitution, even the way it is, if it is properly implemented, we usher in growth for Nigeria. But it is not properly implemented. So rather than trying to see the best way to use our constitution, what we do at that level is try to see the loopholes and exploit them. And once that mindset is there, no matter the constitution you give to Nigeria, it will continue to have a problem. So just because we have bad drivers does not mean that you allow your car go bad. You can still put the car in good shape, but the driver may continue knocking the engine, but you keep on replacing the engine. That's what we have right now. So that we don't pack our constitution, we must make sure that we keep on managing what we have, improving on them until such a time where we can have a brand new constitution. But at the end of the day, as I said earlier, it is the mindset of us. It is the culture. It is the ideology. It is the ethos that drive us as a people that can make anything work in Nigeria. If you bring a brand new constitution and we are still as evil as we are, and we are still selfish as we are, and we see the country as a plundering field, not a place to grow, then we will continue to have issues.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ambrose. You ended that conversation very well. Until we start to see each other as our brother's keeper, plain and simple, Nigeria is not going to go anywhere. And at this point, local government autonomy is not just a legal or political issue. It has become an issue that must be discussed on what angle it should. The complexity of it is, it's as far back as the number of years that you have mentioned. But as the actors, as the chairman of the Actors Guild of Public Affairs Analysts, would you gauge the public sentiment on this issue, and how do you think that, we should move forward from now on as we wrap up the show?
Well, the Guild of Public Affairs Analysts, the Guild of Public Affairs Analysts is made up of analysts like me and many others who go on air like this, on radio, TV, on blogs, writing in the newspaper columns and the rest, to have intervention on public issues and governance, analyze governance, and try to see how we can make our recommendations and prescription for good governance. We feel the pulse of the people, and we try to relate that pulse to government. We also try to explain government policies to the people and try to see how we can, be a bridge between the government and the people, and try to see how we can also hold government accountable so that we can engender growth for Nigeria. Our last thing we say, okay, Nigerians, this democracy is the only one we have for now. We must make it work. All alternative we have been talking about does not work. All this, we can see what is happening in Mali, Burkina Faso, and after the euphoria, one of them is already saying that he's not going to conduct election again. So we can see that this is not how sound good. Democracy is still our best option, and anything that will make it work, we should encourage it to work. And Nigeria must succeed because we have everything it takes to succeed.
Nigeria must succeed, and we have everything to succeed. And at this point, Nigeria cannot keep pretending to be a federation where local governments operate like bandages of state governors, or where we think that our country shouldn't matter to us just because we are marginalized, we're underrepresented, pardon me. So as citizens, we must start to demand more than the rhetoric. If our leaders are really serious about democracy, they must start to empower governance where it matters the most, closer to its people, brought to its people. And as we watch the constitution review process unfold, one thing is clear: power must shift, not upwards, not sideways, but down to the people. This has been Politics Uncensored, and I really appreciate how our viewers, our guests have joined this conversation. Politics Uncensored is about the real talk, the real issues, and I'll see you again next time. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Until next time, keep staying informed, keep staying political. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Bye-bye.